Hi learners, it's glad to see you in Krishna space. Today is day 44 of our 300 days DSA journey. So it's time for our today's problem. Let's understand it. So today's problem is isomorphic strings. Here we have given two strings S and T and we have to determine if they are isomorphic. So now let's understand how we are going to say if two strings are isomorphic or not. So two strings S and T are going to be isomorphic if the characters in S can be replaced to get T. Also, all occurrences of a character must be replaced with another character while preserving the order of characters. No two characters may map to the same character, but a character may map to itself. So now let's get into the example to understand it more clearly. In example 1, we have given two strings S and T and the output is true. Why? Because we are going to map E as a and G as a D. And after mapping, we are actually getting add. So that's why it is returning true. Now let's see the example 2. In example 2, the output is false. Why? Because F is mapping to B, but O is mapping two characters A and R, and which is not possible in this example. So that's why they are not isomorphic. Same in example 3, we have given two strings and the output is true because they are isomorphic. So now let's understand how I actually approach this problem. So for that, let's get into the code and understand it step by step. So the first thing that comes in my mind after reading this problem is that if I want my strings to be isomorphic, then they should have in the same length. And if they are not, then they are not going to be isomorphic. So we can just return false for it. That's why the first two lines are just checking if the lengths of my strings are same or not. Thereafter, I have made a dictionary called mapping, which is currently empty. And following that, I am running a loop in which I am getting the characters from S and T string. So in my C1, I am getting the characters from S, and in C2, I am getting the characters from T. In the loop, first I am going to check if the character from S is in mapping or not. Let's say it is in mapping. Then we are going to check if that character is in mapping, then that means that character is a key, because all the characters from S will going to be key in my mapping and all the characters from my T will going to be its value. So now if C1 is present in my mapping, or I can say if the current character of S is in my mapping, then we are going to check the value of my C1. If it is not equal to C2, then we are going to return false. But let's say C1 is not in my mapping. So we are going to get into the else block. And in the else block, we are going to check if my C2 in the values of my mapping or not. If it is present in the values, then we are going to return false. Otherwise, we are going to make my C1 as a key and C2 its value. So now let's take the examples to understand it more clearly. So in the first run, we are going to get E, which is not in mapping. So we will come into the else block and we are going to check C2, which is A, in my mapping.values or not. And currently, as I said, mapping is empty. So we will make E as a key and A its value. Now in the second run, we are going to get G, which is not in mapping. So again, we will come in else block. And we are going to see if our C2, which is currently D now, is in my mapping.values or not, which is not. So now my C1, which is currently G, will become key and D will become its value. In the next run, we will get C1 as G and we are going to check if it is in mapping or not. And we know it is in mapping, so we are going to get into the if block, and in if block we are going to check if my value of C1 is equal to C2 or not. So we know the value of G is D, so that means we are not going to run this line and we are going to move forward. So now as we have traversed all the characters, we are going to come out from this loop, and in the result we are going to join all the values from mapping, which will become add. So in the return we are going to get true because result and T both are add. So that's why in this example we are getting true. So that's how this solution is solving this problem. If you guys have any other solution of it, do write it on comment, and thank you so much for watching this video and staying with me.